This mix was sent in by Lucas. All right, so far it doesn't sound too bad. Couple things I'm noticing. The guitar is definitely a little loud. That might also just be the overall tonality of the guitar. It feels like it's just a little harsh in the top end. It's not that bad because it's a clean tone. If this were like a distorted guitar, those high mids would definitely be overpowering. But because it's just a clean tone, it's not too bad. I would just maybe dial back the high mids a little bit. But even that could just be helped by just lowering the guitar in volume a little bit. The drums feel a little too far in the background. It also feels like you have a little too much buildup in the sub frequencies. It's kind of hard to tell on my system because I don't have a subwoofer, but it definitely feels like we're getting a little bit too much of that low end buildup. All right, the vocals don't sound too bad. I know you said that you intentionally wanted them a little farther in the background. I do wish you had just a little bit more top end in the vocals, like above 5K, just a little bit more to make it just a little shinier in the top end, for lack of a better word. But like where they're sitting sounds fine. I just wish there was a little bit more top end. Other than that, like things feel overwhelmingly mono. Like even though you have some stereo elements that are like popping up randomly on the left and right, which is good, that will add to the stereo spread. Just in general, it feels like everything is really focused in the middle. I was kind of expecting when it hit the chorus for it to spread out a little bit more and like bloom and like feel a little bit bigger than the verse did, but it didn't. Like maybe a little bit, but not as much as I was expecting. It just overall, it feels really, really mono. That could be as simple as bringing the side elements up in volume a little bit more and the center elements down a little bit. But yeah, in general, it feels like it's lacking some stereo width. Yeah, even when I pull up an analyzer, like you can clearly see that it's mostly focused in the middle. You have like a little bit of spread in some spots, but like there's no point that it actually gets like fully wide. There's no point that it's actually fully taking up as much width as it could, which I feel like you kind of need here, especially with this kind of a vibe when you have like all these like little extra things in the background and like the time elements that are like fleshing things out. I feel like it should definitely feel a lot wider than it does right now. This mix was sent in by William. All right, dude, you clearly took a DI of this acoustic rather than miking it. You might have also mic'd it, but like the DI acoustics, as far as I'm concerned, this might just be personal opinion, but I fucking hate the way that acoustic DIs sound. They sound weird. They always sound weird. There's a little too much definition in the pick attack. Like it doesn't sound like an acoustic does. If I want an acoustic sound, I want to hear the actual guitar in the room. I don't want to hear the pickup. The pickups are great for live stuff because obviously, you know, the audience needs to be able to hear what the fuck's going on. But in a studio setting, there's no reason that you shouldn't be miking up the guitar and getting an actual sound. You also just have too much top end across the board. Like things are harsh, which is crazy because there's no gain in any of this. Like, this is all super clean stuff, but you just have so much piercing high end. You got a little bit of low end, but not nearly enough, but really it just feels like you boosted the top end way too fucking much. Yeah, dude, everything above 2K is definitely too loud, but especially from like 2 to 6K, you just like have boosted so much of it. It hurts, man. Like, you have some good low end there, but it's being completely overshadowed by how much you've boosted those upper mids. You need to keep in mind, it's all a balancing act. It's all a balancing act. Like, you cannot have low end or high end without the other, okay? So when you boost too much of the high end, you're getting rid of the low end. Even if it's showing up on the analyzer, like, it doesn't sound like it's there because of how much top end you boosted. And vice versa. If you're boosting a ton of low end, then it's going to sound like there's not enough top end. Like, it's all a balancing act, and you just have definitely overdone it in the upper mids. They wanna dance with you, dance with you. They wanna dance with you, dance with you. All right, let's try to fix this real quick. Take a cocktail, maybe a real ale, maybe a glass of wine. When you feel loose, tight and loose, around the one you want. And dance with her, dance with her. You wanna dance with her, dance with her. You glide around the room. Your feet don't touch the ground. You know the love's so soon. You wanna, yeah, you wanna. You know you wanna, yeah, you wanna, yeah. Another winter's night, don't feel right. Take me to the town. In the spotlight, silhouettes they fight to be by your side. They wanna dance with you, dance with you. They wanna dance with you, dance with you. You glide around the room. Your feet don't touch the ground. You know that I'm so soon. You wanna, yeah, you wanna. You know you wanna, yeah, you wanna, yeah. Another winter's night, don't feel right. Take me to the town. In the spotlight, silhouettes they fight to be by your side. They wanna dance with you, dance with you. They wanna dance with you, dance with you. This mix was sent in by Brandon. Couple things I'm noticing here. Pretty much everything feels really far away. It kind of feels like you have a blanket over the whole mix. I thought it was just going to be an effect for the intro, but then things started to build up, and then like we could kind of hear that kick pretty well. Like that felt mostly up front. But in general, things sound kind of far away. There's an overall weird quality to the whole thing. Feels like everything has been thinned out somehow, which can sometimes happen if you're running through really shitty equipment. As an example, I know I used to have a DI box that was just absolutely garbage, and every guitar signal that I ran through that thing, it thinned it out and just made it sound fucking horrible. So I don't know what you have in your chain, but like in general, everything sounds weirdly thinned out. Also, as things are starting to pick up, it's very clear that the overall track is definitely overcompressed, which is weird because it's not that loud. Like, it's not super quiet either, but like I wouldn't quite think that this is at like a commercial volume. But despite that, you still somehow overcompressed it. So I don't know if you like compressed the fuck out of it and then turned it down, but like usually you get this kind of overcompression when people are trying to push the master farther, but like you don't even have the loudness to go with it. All right, I was curious what volume you're at. Don't listen to the -14 LUFS rule. Just don't. It's fucking stupid. I've said this in other videos. That is the dumbest rule. Actual mastering engineers are not aiming for -14. You should not be either, especially because your true peak is at like -3. Your true peak should usually be at like -0.2. Okay, so when you have a true peak of -3 and an LUFS of like -14, like, dude, no. Fuck the -14 rule. Okay, fuck the -14 rule. It's fucking stupid. Also, the entire track is like completely mono. There's zero stereo spread whatsoever. So that might be part of why it sounds so weird and it feels so thin to me. It's almost like you like had it in mono already and then somehow collapsed it even further, like if you used a stereo widener wrong. It's like, it's weirdly, again, there's just a weird quality to the whole thing that sounds like it's going through something really shitty that's like thinning everything out. But like, yeah, with how mono is, it really almost feels like you took a stereo widener and used it in reverse and like made it even narrower when it was already mono, which would definitely explain why it sounds so weird and thin. And like, dude, utilize the stereo spectrum, spread shit out, especially in this kind of a genre. Like, make things move around, make it fill the whole stereo spectrum. Like, it should not be completely mono. And realistically, I feel like it's almost less than mono with how thin it feels. Obviously, you can't get less than mono, but you know what I mean. If you take a stereo widener and you make it thinner when it's already mono, it's gonna create weird artifacts. Just for the hell of it, I'm going to put some mid-side EQ on this, but I'm going to make it the whole frequency spectrum. So I'm just going to boost the crap out of the sides on everything and see what happens. Okay, you ended up actually adding things in the side eventually, but it's only like one thing, so now that's just ridiculously loud. So that was fucking stupid. But yeah, dude, spread things out. Like, the stereo spectrum exists. Fucking utilize it. Like, not everything should be mono. Generally, the things that I like to put right up the middle is your kick, your snare, your bass, and then a vocal. Pretty much everything else other than those four things is going to be spread out in the stereo spectrum to some amount. Now, depending on what it is, that's going to determine on where exactly you pan it. But like, pretty much the only things that I have straight up the middle are kick, snare, bass, and vocals. This mix was sent in by Yasik. All right, it's a cool groove. I mostly like the guitar tone. The snare sounds like it's clipping. Like you might have just used a clipper on it and overdone it a little bit, but the snare sound doesn't sound good. It sounds like it's clipping and audibly distorting in a bad way. The kick is like you got a lot of top end attack and a whole lot of sub frequency, but you're missing some of the mid range. Granted, drums usually don't have a lot of mid range information anyway, but you should definitely have some of the kick information up to even like 200 hertz, maybe even 250, just so it like feels a little fuller. Other than that, I can like barely hear the bass. It sounds like the bass is only sub frequencies and you got nothing above that. Like it feels like you have a massive hole in the mid range, and most of that is from what's missing out of the bass. Because again, it feels like you boosted the crap out of the low end of the bass and used nothing above like 250 hertz in the bass. The low mids especially is really important for the bass sound, and normally I would say that you could probably also add some low mids back into the guitar tone, but the guitars actually sound okay here. Like maybe a little bit more low mids in the guitar, but definitely the biggest thing here is what's missing in the low mids because of the way the bass is EQ'd. Overall, I would have turned the low end of the bass down a lot and just turned the overall volume of the bass up a lot more. Yeah, dude, you just have a massive hole in the mid-range. The vocals are filling it up a little bit, but really that space should be occupied by the bass, and it's not. Like, even this part where the guitars drop out and we're just hearing drums, bass, and vocals, like, you can hear how much is lacking there because of where the bass is. Like, if you filled the mid-range back in the bass, this would sound so much better immediately. Then also the things with the drums, like I said, you got to fill back in a little bit more of the low mids with the kick. You got to figure out what's going on with the snare because it's clipping and distorting in like a bad way. I would probably even fill in a little bit more of the mid-range of the guitar, but for sure the biggest problem here is the bass sound.